Hello everyone, this is part 9 video on past year NEET questions from the topic equilibrium. We'll start with a question that has come in the year 2000. Which statement is wrong about pH and H+? Means they're talking about couple of statements given both in terms of pH as well as the H+ concentration, or some of the aspects related to H+. We'll go through the options anyway. So we have to find out which is the wrong. First is what option A is saying, that pH of neutral water is not 0. This is correct, because pH of neutral water, if you take it at say for example whatever temperature, like say we take it at 298 Kelvin, means what is the pH value going to be? It will be 7. And if we change the temperature, if we increase temperature, means pH of neutral water will be decreasing. If you decrease temperature, means pH of neutral water will be increasing. So why? Because always for neutral water the H+ ion concentration into OH- ion concentration, right, the product will be a constant. That is what we call as the Kw. Increasing temperature means Kw will increase. Decreasing temperature means Kw will decrease. Accordingly the pH also will modify. So this is the correct one, and we are looking for the wrong statement. Okay, so option B is saying what? One normal solution of acetic acid and one normal solution of NaOH. The pH will be 7. See, one normal solution, basically, if you look at the acid base neutralization, right, one normal of a strong acid will be completely neutralized by one normal of the strong base. But here the situation is we have one normal. Ideally they should neutralize, but acetic acid is a weak acid, whereas sodium hydroxide is what is a strong base. So one normal NaOH is going to give us what exactly? If you take 1 liter of solution, means it will be giving us 1 mole of OH minus. But acetic acid being a weak acid, it will not be able to give same amount of H+. The H+ will be what? Lesser. So as a result, in the solution we will be having more OH minus. More OH minus means what? This is basic solution, and pH will be more than 7. So at room temperature conditions or 298 Kelvin, we consider basic solutions pH will be what? More than 7. So when they say pH is 7, this is not going to be possible. So the one that is a wrong statement is option B. So we can look at the others also. Option C is saying what? H+ of dilute and hot H2SO4 is more than the concentrated and cold H2SO4. See, hot and dilute means what? The degree of dissociation. The degree of dissociation is going to be what? Almost equal to 1. Even for the so-called strong acids also, it will be almost equal to what? 1. If you take a cold and concentrated, right, the dissociation extent will be what? Reduced. Which means we will see that alpha will be considerably less than 1. So in this case alpha is almost going to 1, it will be considerably less than 1. Means what we see is the H+ concentration will be more in the case of the hot dilute sulfuric acid. So this is the correct statement. Then option D is saying what? Mixing solution of CH3COOH and HCl, the pH will be less than 7. See, what is it? CH3COOH is an acid. Of course it is a weak acid. HCl is an acid, it's a strong acid. So when you mix them, right, effectively what we'll have? We'll be having more number of H+ ions because of the dissociation of the acids. Means if the concentration of H+ ions is more than neutral state, then pH is going to be less than 7. That is the acidic solution, right? At room temperature conditions, what will be the pH value of the acidic solutions? It will be less than 7. Okay, so that is also correct one. So among the given statements, the wrong is option B. Let's go to next question. This is a question that has come in the year 2000. The equilibrium constant Kp for the following reaction. So they have given us a reaction. What is it? Magnesium carbonate solid on dissociation gives magnesium oxide solid and CO2. This must be a gas rather. Okay, CO2 is not a solid, it is a gas. Okay, so there is a typo here. So for this, right, we have to conclude which of them is an correct expression. So they are talking always in terms of what? Kp. See, Kp will be equal to what? The partial pressures of the product gases raised to the suitable powers divided by the partial pressures of the reactant gases. But if you see, there is only one gas in the entire reaction mixture, which is CO2. Magnesium oxide is a solid. Magnesium carbonate is also solid. So they will not have any partial pressures. So which means what? The Kp value is simply going to be equal to what? Partial pressure of CO2. So that is the product side. So the correct answer is option A, which is Kp is equal to partial pressure of CO2. Let's go to the question that has come in the 1999. This is a question on the Bronsted and Lowry theory. The strongest conjugate base is, so they have given the respective anions. So among them we have to find what is the strongest conjugate base. So if you look at it, right, for Cl minus, which is a conjugate base, what is the corresponding acid? It is HCl. For NO3 minus, what is the corresponding acid? HNO3. For CH3COO minus, what is the corresponding acid? CH3COOH. For SO4 minus, what is the corresponding acid? See, actually when we talk about the conjugate acid, for these are all bases. These are all what? Bases. When we talk about the conjugate acid, for that we should just add one H plus. So the conjugate acid for SO4 minus will be what? HSO4 minus. If you add one more H plus, means it will become what? The sulfuric acid. If you add one more H plus, means it will become what? Sulfuric acid. Generally the understanding is, if the acid is a strong acid, right, typically the mineral acids, all the mineral acids are what? Strong acids. If the acid is a strong acid, then the corresponding base will be what? A weaker base, the conjugate base. The corresponding conjugate base will be weaker base. If the acid is a weaker acid, then the corresponding conjugate base will be a stronger. So here we need to find what is the strongest. See, among them, right, which is the weakest one? Acetic acid is a weak acid. So acidic acid and dissociation gives what? CH3CO minus and H plus. So acetate ion is a conjugate base for a weak acid. Means what? This, since the acid is a weak acid, the corresponding conjugate base will be what? Stronger. Whereas the other acids, right, all are mineral acids, they are stronger. So the respective conjugate bases will be what? Weaker bases. The respective conjugate bases will be weaker bases. Okay, so this is how we look at the comparison between the conjugate acids and the conjugate base. So whenever the conjugate acid is weak, means the corresponding base will be strong. If the acid is strong, means corresponding base will be weaker. So the answer for this is option D, which is CH3COO minus, acetate ion. Next we have another question that has come in the year 1999. The concentration of H plus and OH minus of 0.1 aqueous solution of 2% ionized weak acid. So this 0.1 is the acid concentration, 0.1 molar, we'll take it as acid concentration. So 2% ionized means alpha will be equal to what? 2 by 100, which will be equal to what? 2 into 10 power minus 2. This also we can write as what? 10 power minus 1. So this is C, this is alpha. So what do we need to find? We need to find the H plus and OH minus concentrations. Remember, so if you have an acid like HA, right, it is going to dissociate to give us what? H plus and A minus. So here if you take concentration of the acid as C and degree of dissociation is alpha, then the amount of the acid dissociated is what? C alpha. The amount of the H plus produced is what? C alpha, and A minus is also C alpha. So the H plus ion concentration will be equal to what? C into alpha. Means C is what? 10 power minus 1 into alpha is what? 2 into 10 power minus 2, which means it is 2 into 10 power minus 3. This is the H plus value. And since the ionic product of water at the condition is given as what? 1 into 10 power minus 14. So what is the relation we have between the two? H plus concentration into OH minus ion concentration is equal to what? Kw, which is 1 into 10 power minus 14. Means H plus is what? 2 into 10 power minus 3 into that OH minus is equal to what? 10 power minus 14. So we will see that the OH minus value, right, will be equal to what? 10 power minus 14 by 2 into 10 power minus 3, which will be, if you look at it, 10 power minus 11 by 2, that will be 5 into 10 power minus 12. So the H plus value is what? 2 into 10 power minus 3, and OH minus value is what? 5 into 10 power minus 12. We can check if you multiply both of them, right? Just multiply both of them. what is this, 2 5s are 10, 10 power minus 3, 10 power minus 12, 10 power minus 15. So 10 into 10 power minus 15 means what? 10 power minus 14, which is kW. In fact, some people will even check it like this. If you just do look at the options, right? Option B, if you try to multiply them, H plus and OH minus, multiply them, you are not going to get 10 power minus 14. Here also, if you multiply them, right, we will not be able to get 10 power minus 14. Option C also, multiply them, we will not get 10 power minus 14. Option D also, we will not get 10 power minus 14. So that way also, we can just check and conclude. But yeah, I mean, very rarely only they will give these kind of options where you can even do it by the verification of options. Let's go to the next question. This is another question that has come in the year 1999. This is a question based on the solubility product. The solubility of a saturated solution, of calcium fluoride. Calcium fluoride is what? CaF2. Is 2 into 10 power minus 4 mole per liter. Means they are giving us what? Molar solubility? Yes. Its solubility product is. So we have seen quite a number of questions along similar model. So what we are supposed to do here, we will just write down the solubility equation. So CaF2 gives rise to what? Ca2 plus 2F minus. That is the solubility equation for calcium fluoride. If S is the molar solubility, the one particle of CaF2 gives one particle of calcium ion, and 2 fluoride ions will come. So if S is the molar solubility, the concentration of Ca2 plus will be what? S. The concentration of fluoride ions will be what? 2S. Means the Ksp value is going to be what? The calcium 2 plus ion concentration into fluoride ion concentration power 2. The calcium 2 plus ion concentration into fluoride ion concentration power 2. Okay, so which is S into 2S the whole square. So which is going to be what? Which will be equal to 4S cube. So Ksp value is 4S cube, and what is S value? 2 in 10 power minus 4. So we just have to substitute it. So this will be what? 2 cube is 8, 10 power minus 4 whole cube is 10 power minus 12. So totally we'll have 32 into 10 power minus 12, which is option D. So this is a straight question. For the given type of salt, we are expressing what is the Ksp value, and once we have the Ksp value, we will be able to once we have the Ksp formula, we just have to substitute the value of molar solubility and get it. Next we have a question straight based on the equilibrium constant formula. This is a question that has come in the year 1998. If K1 and K2 are the respective equilibrium constants for the following reactions. So they are giving us two reactions. Okay. So reaction 1 equilibrium constant is what? K1. Reaction 2 equilibrium constant is what? K2. Then the equilibrium constant of the reaction, they are giving a third reaction. Let's call it as what? Say for example K3. So we have to find what is the value of K3 in terms of K1 and K2. So how are we going to solve this? So we will just simply write down what are the values of K1 and K2. So what is K1 value? K1 value will be the product concentrations raised to the powers divided by the reactant concentrations Xg F6 into H2O. Okay. So all are gases. That is K1. So what is K2? K2 will be what? XeOF4 concentration into XeO3F2 divided by XeO4 concentration into XeF6. All we are doing is just write down the equilibrium constant expressions. Now let us write down K3. What is K3? K3 will be XeO3F2 into H2O divided by XeO4 into HF power 2 will come. Why HF power 2 will come? Because we have a factor 2. Now if you take a look at them, right, just try to observe what will be the relation we will have. If you look at in the K3, XeO3F2 is coming in the numerator. K2 also XeO3F2 is coming in the numerator. Okay. And here HF square is coming in the denominator in K3. Where is HF square? HF square is in K1 but in the numerator. So the idea that we will get broadly is that if you have, let's say we will do K2 divided by K1, means what? we have to take a reciprocal of K1 and multiply this with what? K2. If you take a reciprocal of K1, right, what is reciprocal of K1? Think about it. What is the reciprocal of K1? It will be XeF6, taking the reciprocal of K1, into H2O divided by XeOF4 into HF square. This is the reciprocal of K1. If you multiply the reciprocal of K1 with K2, just observe this. I'll just use a different color to indicate this. If you multiply the 1 by K1, this is 1 by K1 by the way, this is 1 by K1, we are multiplying 1 by K1 with K2. If you multiply 1 by K1 with K2, what we are going to get? You can check. The XeF6 will be cancelled, and what else will get cancelled over here? So if you look at the comparison, right, the XeOF4 also will get cancelled. Then the remaining part will be what? In the numerator we will be having XeO3F2 and H2O. In the denominator what will be there? XeO4 and HF square, which is nothing but what? K3. So what is the relation? The K3 will be equal to what? K2 by K1. K3 will be equal to what? K2 by K1. So the correct answer is option D. So in solving these kind of questions, right, what is the approach we are taking? We are simply writing down the expressions. For each of the given reactions, we are writing down the equilibrium constant expressions. Then we will see for the unknown expression to come, what is the kind of relation we need to have. Sometimes we may have to take a reciprocal of it. Sometimes we may have to square it, or no. Sometimes we may have to take a cube of it or a square root of it. So we have to appropriately choose. So this is more of a mathematical adjustment, like how we will have to take a combination so that the expressions will exactly match each other. So the answer for this is option D. Let's go to a question that has come in the year 1997. The hydride ion H- is a stronger base than hydroxide ion. So H- is a stronger base than the OH-. Which of the following reaction will occur if sodium hydride is dissolved in water? See, when sodium hydride is dissolved in water, right? So what is the reaction we are going to be having? I mean, of course, this is also a reaction that we can see in terms of the group 1 element reactions, but here we will try to analyze the reaction based upon the comparison of the basic strength. So what is the information given to us? They are saying H- is a stronger base than OH-. So when you see the sodium hydride is reacting with H2O, thereby forming what? Sodium hydroxide and H2. So if you try to analyze this reaction in terms of the ions, right, what is the respective ions? So forget about the Na+, then in terms of ions, what will be the reaction we'll have? H- is combining the H2O to produce OH- and H2. So if you look at this like an equilibrium, right, what are we seeing? So we are seeing that the H- is able to take a proton, from the water, and it is forming what? The OH- and H2. So the happening of this reaction in the forward direction, right? The happening of the reaction in the forward direction is an indication that H- is a stronger base than OH-. If OH- is a stronger base, then the reaction would have been coming in the backward. Means the reaction of sodium hydride with water would not have happened. But since H- is a stronger base, right? That is the reason why this reaction is able to happen in the forward direction. That's why what we are going to have, the sodium hydride when reacting with water, it gives sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. So the equation in terms of the ionic phenomena, what is the equation we can represent? The H- will react with water to produce OH- and H2. Next we have a question that has come in the year 1997. This is another important model of question. The solubility product of CuS, Ag2S and HgS are 10 power minus 31, 10 power minus 44 and 10 power minus 54 respectively. Then the solubilities of these sulfides are in the order. So the KSP values are given. What do we need to find? We need to find what is the order of the solubilities. See, generally what is the statement that we use is higher the KSP. This is a common statement that we will be using. Higher the KSP, that means higher will be the solubility. That is a general, because whenever we see the relations, right, the Ksp will be what? It will be a constant. So what will be the formula for Ksp? It will be a constant into the solubility raised to some power. This is the kind of a general expression we have in terms of the Ksp. So what is the general conclusion we have? Higher the solubility value means higher the solubility product. But if you want to exactly compare between different type of salts, remember this formula also depends upon what is the salt type. So if you look at one by one, right, let's say what we have, CuS. When it is dissolving, it will produce what? Cu2 plus ions and sulfide ions. So concentrations are going to be what? S and S. So we will have S square is equal to 10 power minus 31, means S will be equal to what? Square root of n power minus 31, which is 10 power minus 15.5. Keep it as 1. Then what we have? We have Ag2S. On getting dissolved, it will produce 2 Ag plus and sulfide ions. So the amount here is 2S and S. Totally Ksp value will be equal to what? 2S the whole square into S, which is 4S cube. What is the Ksp value here? 10 power minus 44. Means S will be, so the 4 will go to the other side, 10 power minus 44 by 4 cube root, which is equal to what? Cube root of 4. 10 power minus 44 by 3 is what? It will be 10 power minus, because 45 by 3 means 15 will come. So it will be what? 14.33 like that. That is the second for the Ag2S. Then we will come to the third, HGS. HGS, the formula is what? Just like CuS. Means it will be giving us Hg2 plus and sulfide ions. Means what? This is S and this is also S. So we will have S square. Solubility product is equal to what? 10 power minus 54. Means S will be equal to what? Square root of that, which is 10 power minus 27. So if you see it, definitely that HGS is very low. Solubility of HGS is what? Very low. Okay, that is the least in fact. So among all the options, that is the least. Now the question is, what is the comparison between these two? Which is a lesser value? So here what is the power of 10? We have 10 power minus 14.33. Here the power of 10 is what? 10 power minus 14.33. Here what is it? 10 power minus 15.5. Even if you take the the 1 by cube root of 4, we will still see that this is going to be a lesser value. Comparatively between these two, which will be lesser value? The CuS solubility will be lesser, which means what? The solubility order will be what? Ag2S will have a higher solubility than, next will be what? CuS, than HGS. HGS is the least. So while we generally say higher the solubility product, higher the solubility, that is a general statement because we look at the relation like this. But if you want to exactly compare, means we should go to the respective formula and then only we will be able to compare it. If you have all salts of same type of formula, right, then again all of them will have the same kind of relation, so we can easily conclude. But if you have formulas of the salts changing, right, sometimes we will get solubility product in terms of S cube, sometimes we will get the solubility product in terms of S square. There we have to be a little bit careful. Okay. Next we have a question that has come in the year 1996. The equilibrium constant for the reaction. What is the reaction? N2 plus 3H2 gives rise to 2NH3. Equilibrium constant is K. Then the equilibrium constant for the equilibrium, they have a different reaction. So for the first reaction, what is the first reaction? N2 plus 3H2 gives rise to what? 2NH3. What is the equilibrium constant? K. What is second reaction they are giving? 2NH3 gives rise to N2 plus 3H2. So if you see what is this, is this the reverse? Means the equilibrium constant is going to be what? Reciprocal of the original. It's about basic operation on the reaction equilibrium constant. So if we reverse the equation, means the modified equilibrium constant will be what? It will be reciprocal of the original equilibrium constant. So this is about the part 9 and we will see in the next part video.